Midnight. The tale unfolds in Los Angeles in 1992. At some point of a time of social and racial anxiety, Mercer, a person navigating complex instances, gets a name from Child Protection Services. He has these days been granted conditional custody of his son Antoine. Regardless of the strained dating among them, Mercer has decided to take in this obligation. After the decision, he heads to Antoine's room to wake him up for college. Awaken guy, it is time for college. In the meantime, in some other part of the town, a person named Riggin meets his buddy cop. 30 seconds. Riggin proposes one very last heist. He believes this can be their risk to depart at the back of a lifestyles of crime. Again at residence, Mercer prepares breakfast for Antoine, but Antoine refuses to consume and stays remote. Anxiety fills the air among father and son. The radio with inside the Heritage reviews troubling information. A tribulation related to Rodney King is everywhere in the headlines. King, a black guy changed into overwhelmed via way of means of a white police officer and numerous colleagues. The four cops who have been videotaped time and again beating an unarmed guy. The case sparks 1 minute outrage and grabs the eye of the black network. Mercer attempts to connect to Antoine. He hopes to shut the emotional distance among them. However, Antoine, nevertheless irritated, needs solutions. He accuses Mercer of leaving behind him at some point of his early life. He additionally says Mercer changed into absent while his mom had the coincidence. Mercer listens before everything. He is taking in Anan's anger, however, matters worsen while Antoine mutters an insult beneath his breath. Mercer, annoyed via way of means of the disrespect, increases his voice. You going to recognize me? He units a strict curfew for 1 minute and 30 seconds. A 9. He tells him the unrest surrounding the Rodney King case is why it is essential. In the meantime, Riggin alternatives up his brother Dennis. They head to look their father Eliel, a person recognized for his harsh method, asking them to forestall bothering the girl. Watch your mouth, watch your mouth. However, in place of backing down, the thugs end up competitive. One in every of them pulls out a gun and presses it towards Mercer's head. Earlier than the scenario receives worse. An older guy named DeVille intervenes. He pulls the thugs again and scolds them harshly for his or her moves. He reminds them of Mercer's significance to the network with Inside the Beyond. Knowing their mistakes, Satan apologizes to Mercer at once. At some point of the communique, Satan asks Mercer while he changed into launched from jail. Mercer replies flippantly, approximately 6 months in the past. 6 months. He says he changed into launched 6 months in the past and is now dwelling a quiet lifestyle, seeking to begin over on the identical time. Riggin takes his father to a manufacturing unit. He lays out the info of an excessive stakes heist focused on a secure stuffed with $10 million, really well worth of platinum. Riggin, with a bit of luck, explains the plan. He stocks layouts and insider recommendations furnished with the aid of using a supply on the manufacturing unit. He describes the secure as strong and guarded with the aid of using a sophisticated alarm gadget. If the alarm is going off, a metallic cage locks the secure. Absolutely, this makes getting access to it nearly not possible. Riggin gives his plan with self-belief. However, his father nonetheless has doubts that is simply out of our league. It is simply over our heads. He thinks the plan is simply too formidable. He questions how they are able to get beyond the factory's tight protection and a couple of surveillance cameras. The dismissive feedback from his father deepen his frustration, but Riggin remains silent without beginning a controversy. He drives Eliel lower back domestic. In the meantime, Mercer is likewise on the manufacturing unit. He works there and is visible amassing his get right of entry to card and keys at the S. Notwithstanding this, Dennis remains with the aid of using his brother's aspect. He presents assist and allows Riggin live targeted later that day. Breaking information reviews the jury's choice. The officials concerned with Inside the Rodney King case are declared now no longer responsible. The decision shocks the black network and sparks outrage. Protests get away throughout Los Angeles. The scenario escalates swiftly, main to extensive violence and chaos. Antoine comes instantly domestic from faculty. He's greatly surprised while he sees the riots spreading close to their community. A liquor shop is being looted close by within the residence. The TV suggests scenes of the unrest. The pictures highlights the big scale of the protests on the identical time. Riggin watches the information. He notices the police suffering to address the riots. It moves him as an appropriate second to perform the heist at the same time as regulation enforcement is distracted, seizing the possibility. Riggin calls his father to his marvel. His father concurs to continue with the plan, no person minding the shop. In the meantime, Mercer and the alternative factory people are dispatched domestic early for his or her protection. The control advises them to keep away from the unrest and live secure. Riggin quickly hears from his source on the factory. The source tells him the team of workers is decreased and protection is lighter than traditional. Seeing this as the right possibility, Riggin gathers Dennis and speedy movements to execute their plan. Each one of these officials from the down the latest rook On their manner they forestall at Copeland's residence to choose him up. Copeland's spouse, who's closely pregnant, issues approximately his involvement. He tries to reassure her and urges her to live secure within the residence earlier than leaving with the group returned on the manufacturing unit. Mercer grows an increasing number of involved, approximately Antoine's protection, he explained. Father's employed thugs acts all of a sudden and shoots Joseph. Riggin threatens the thug in retaliation. The thug unshaken counters together along with his personal hazard. The disagreement almost spirals out of manage till Eliel intervenes. He reminds all of them and their shared purpose, the platinum they got here to Scouseboro. With tempers rather cooled, the thugs disable the factory's telecell, smartphone strains and surveillance structures. They then use a forklift to attain the secure room and start putting in their gadget to crack the secure with. Inside the midst of all this, Mercer ultimately unearths Antoine. He spots him, status nonetheless out of doors. A grocery keep being looted with the aid of using neighborhood rears. Furious and relieved on the equal time, Mercer grabs Antoine with the aid of using the collar and pulls him far from the chaos without announcing plenty. He leads him to the automobile on the manufacturing unit. The thugs start drilling into the secure with dedication. Unbeknownst to them, Joseph regains consciousness regardless of his accidents. Summoning his closing electricity, he drags himself to the safety panel and presses the emmer out from beneath the fork. Pissed off and irritated, Riggin lashes out at his father. He shouts curses at him, blaming him for continually being egocentric and unhelpful. In reaction, Eliel orders the thugs to Scouseboro the forklift's keys. This makes positive Riggin cannot opposite it. In the meantime, the alarm prompted with the aid of using Joseph reaches the government. An air patrol helicopter is dispatched to research the state of affairs on the manufacturing unit. Then again, Antoine attempts to get away from vehicle. He runs in the direction of the continuing protests. He feels the urge to BP manner they hold their efforts to crack the secure. Mercer and Antoine come upon a stressful scene. A collection of black guys is terrorizing an harmless white couple, __. Out of right here, Mercer pulls over, receives out of the AUT first hand. Again on the manufacturing unit, the robbers open the secure with explosives. Interior, they discover the platinum. It makes the millionaires right away. Riggin steps away to put together the van for his or her getaway. Dennis is going to the toilet to smooth the blood off his palms after the incident with Copeland. Across the equal time, Mercer arrives on the manufacturing unit with Antoine as they method. Mercer notices the principal's safety defend is lacking. This feels uncommon to him. Regardless of his suspicions, he enters the constructing and tells Antoine to visit the toilet for the reason that boy mentions he wishes to apply it. Interior, Antoine's surprising look startles Dennis. He instinctively factors a gun at him. In the meantime, Mercer reveals Joseph's dead frame. Stunned and irritated, Mercer grabs Joseph's gun and movements carefully through the manufacturing unit. Quickly, the thugs spot Mercer in open hearthplace. He narrowly escapes and starts off evolved trying to find Antoine, but he realizes his son is now lacking. Determined, Mercer rushes to the loading dock and shuts off the strength to benefit a bonus over the thugs using the chaos. Mercer engages one of the thugs. He overpowers him and knocks him out. Then Mercer runs again to the loading dock. There he sees Riggin seeking to park the van for the getaway. Mercer ambushes Riggin and knocks him subconscious with one punch. He drags Riggin away to interrogate him. In the meantime, Dennis takes Antoine to his father. Eliel questions Antoine in the front of Copeland. Copeland is in outstanding ache after dropping his leg, which needed to be amputated. His cries develop louder with each passing second. Mercer desires to apprehend the robbers' plans. He questions Riggin, however receives no beneficial facts. Mercer begins off evolved to piece matters collectively. He realizes they need the platinum. He sneaks into the secure room and sees Eliel threatening his son. Copeland's screams grow to be an excessive amount for Eliel to undergo in a merciless act. He shoots Copeland numerous instances, killing him. This brutal act leaves Dennis and Antoine in surprise. Antoine convinces LOL that he most effective got here to the manufacturing facility to locate his lacking father who works there. His rationalization alongside together along with his sincerity movements enough to permit him cross unhurt. Sadly, the thugs go back on the worst viable time. They file to LOL that a person has taken Riggin. Angered via way of means of the information, LOL will become suspicious of Antoine. Haya forestall. He calls the boy again and accuses him of mendacity. Approximately his father. His anger rises fast. He comes to a decision to apply Antoine as bait to get Riggin to preserve the boy from escaping. He maintains Antoine near and sends the thugs to test at the van. The thugs check out the automobile and find out that the van's rotor is lacking, making It motionless. In the meantime, Mercer escapes from the secure room. He attempts to signal a patrolling helicopter for assist. In spite of his determination, tries to wave it down. The helicopter flies away without noticing him. Mercer gathers himself abruptly. One of the thugs ambushes him from in the back. Of a fierce combat breaks out. The thug needs the stolen rotor. Understanding it's far had to get the van going for walks once more. Mercer refuses. He retaliates and the combat escalates. Mercer manages to seize his weapon and shoots the thug. The effect sends the thug crashing through the secure room's glass roof. He lands lifelessly in the front of Lel and Antoine. Mercer quick returns to Riggin and ties him. He sees the crushed and restricted guy and feels a few sympathy. Mercer is aware the AC vault and diverse objects with inside the room. The chemical substances break any proof. They present the platinum bars into luggage and put together for his or her getaway. They finalize their plans and start shifting out someplace else. Den sits down with Antoine. He attempts to collect statistics, asking Antoine if he is aware of where in Riggin is. Probably. Antoine swears he would not realize whatever. Lel realizes time is jogging out. He communicates with Mercer over the radio and proposes a deal. Mercer need to come to the loading dock for an alternate unarmed. Riggin quick warns Mercer that is an entice. He explains that his father by no means leaves witnesses alive. Antoine's presence makes him a target. Information the stakes. Mercer creates a counterplan. He convinces Riggin to cooperate on the loading docks. Dennis masses Theed into the van. Lel retrieves the van's rotor and quick fixes it. The van can now begin, but L's intentions flip darker. He comes to a decision to shoot Antoine for revenge that is due to the fact Mercer killed one in all his thugs. In advance, the scenario escalates rapid, but Mercer acts unexpectedly. He pushes Riggin in the direction of the van for canopy and opens hearthplace. A chaotic shootout follows. All through this chaos, Dennis is hit with the aid of using a stray bullet. No matter being shot, Dennis facilitates load the last platinum into the van. Riggin steps in to help him. In the meantime, Mercer and in control to get into the driver's seat. They force off with the van and the platinum, leaving chaos in the back of Lel complete of greed and anger steals Mercer's vehicle close to the manufacturing facility gate. He's joined with the aid of using his last thug, and that they begin chasing the van relentlessly. The chase keeps. Dennis succumbs to his accidents and Riggin's palms. The loss devastates Riggin. He's full of rage and sorrow in his heartbreak. Riggin opens the van door. He starts off evolved, capturing at his father. Lel's thug retaliates and shoots Riggin with inside the chest. In spite of the ache Riggin fights on, he makes use of his ultimate electricity to shoot and kill the thug. Riggin then collapses from his wound. The gunshots distract Mercer and Antoine. They lose manipulate of the van. It crashes violently, leaving the car destroyed. The platinum spills onto the floor, scattered. Lel arrives on the scene. He surveys the aftermath. His eyes fall at the platinum now misplaced to him. He sees Riggin slightly clinging to lifestyles. An unprecedented second of remorse. L methods his son. He apologizes for failing as a father, but the apology turns merciless. He shoots Riggin with inside the head, finishing his lifestyles. Listening to the commotion, Mercer starts off evolved, dragging himself out of the wrecked van. Lol notices him and methods together along with his gun organized to complete the task, but earlier than he can pull the cause, Antoine shoots him from in the back of. Afterwards, Mercer hugs Antoine tightly. They're crushed via way of means of alleviation. They simply survived horrors collectively. They climb right into a final automobile and pressure away.